Recipe, so
Pushing it a little.
yeah.
Big ask. How are you? Thank you, Bob. You want to play that? Okay,
Okay, good evening, everybody. We're good? Good, perfect. So again, I apologize for the delay. Our closed session ran a little over. This meeting was already called to order at 6 p.m. when the council entered closed session. As I have in the past, I will reread the statement of the compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. I am calling the public session to order at 7:47. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Kern.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Laura. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Coth,
Here.
Mr. Carnival,
Here.
Mr. Staff,
Here.
Mr. Tashian,
Here.
Mr. Kern,
Here.
Mr. Bello,
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Okay, great. Discussion, I'm going to add one before A here. Call it A1. Ed, would you like to introduce
Yes.
our gentleman from the Cultural Center?
Mr. Mayor and council members, I have in the audience Mr. Peter Dose, who was the manager for the car show, which he's going to explain the reason why he's here. So, Peter, if you would go up to that microphone, the podium.
Is your microphone on, Ed?
Is it on?
Sorry, it's on now.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The River Edge Cultural Center was established in 1995 as a 501c3, and it's an outgrowth of the Centennial. And over the years, we have presented over 500 events for the public, of which we do not charge. The main fundraiser for the River Edge Cultural Center is our car show that we have annually since the year 2001. And 25 years it's kept us going to pay for concerts and everything else that we do, utility bills. And this year was particularly difficult because we were having it at the high school. However, the high school renovation, it was problematical if the contractor was going to need the space or not for the parking lot. And so at one point we were going to be at the train station down at Newbridge, and that became untenable. I said to the chief that the trains are just too much of a disruption, especially when the cars had to cross the tracks. But as it turns out, the contractor didn't need the space at the high school in the parking lot. So I went back to the superintendent, and he said, by all means. So we hustled. And I want to thank the Borough of Oradell, which stepped right in, the health department, the fire department, and taking care of the electric sign out on Kinnickamack and Ridgewood, which was much appreciated. The event had about 225 cars. It was attended by approximately 750 people. They all had a good time. We've been doing this now, this is the 25th year, and we've never had an incident. We work very hard to see things that go smoothly. And one of the things we do is we have early admission for pre-registration. And that breaks it up so that the cars flow in evenly and without disruption. And we use pile as the Pyle Street driveway to come into the school lot for the early admission. And we use Fifth Avenue for the day of show, where people are going who haven't pre-registered. So by separating them, we don't have a situation with people wondering, well, they're jumping the line. Well, they're not jumping the line. They paid early, so we keep them totally separated. I reached out to the police to inform them that we were going to have the car show indeed this year again, as we have in the past, and I requested the police reserve. The sergeant said to me, "Oh, no, don't worry, I'll have that covered." Okay. And then we had several conversations over the ensuing week and a half, and he came to me 2 days before the show and told me that there would be a bill. Well, in 25 years, we never received a bill from any police department, either Oradell or River Edge. And our budget certainly didn't include it. 80% of our funding comes from the car show, which nets us somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000. The rest of the funding comes from donations, which amounts to in the neighborhood of about $1,000. With that, we're able to produce some 18 to 20 events each year with no cost to the public. When we received the bill, it was kind of a stunner. We were busy getting everything for the car show going, and we received the bill. We composed a letter, sent the letter, which was delivered here about 3 days after we got the bill. I gave it to the borough clerk and to address to mayor and council. That was in early August. Didn't hear anything until September, where I got another bill saying to pay this bill. We sent an email which paraphrased the letter that we had sent earlier and said that, we just didn't have it. It was our budget, and that's that. And we asked for forgiveness for the bill. We were performing a public service. We would have been quite fine with a reserve officer whose primary thing was to make sure people weren't going to make a left turn into the lot because it would cause confusion. The lot was closed. That entrance was closed at 10 o'clock. We had it open for early admission at 8 o'clock. So effectively, it was a 2-hour window to keep things running smooth. So I come back to you and I say, I would appreciate if we would give us the forgiveness on the bill in light of the fact of all the things that we do. We had the West Point Band. There was a project that went on for 4 years to bring West Point here. We had 1,350 people come to that event. Wasn't a single problem. We've had other events at the high school. Again, no problem. And next year, we hope to do the same. So thank you.
So just to clarify, you're asking for a waiver of the bill that the police sent you for 2025, correct?
Yes.
What about going forward?
We would expect the same. Quite frankly, if there's an issue, we'll just close that driveway and not use it at all.
So I think in talking with the chief, it's less about the traffic, but when we have special events, when there's a significant public presence, the chief in both towns would decide what type of police presence may be required for that event in order for the event to be held. So in some instances, if it's a borough event, and in this case, it's more, I would say you serve both communities most likely, but it's a River Edge organization versus an Oradell organization. I would hope that River Edge and Oradell can agree on how to treat this, right? Because, you may have to raise the admission of somebody who's putting a car in $5 or something, or whatever the relative figure is. in order to cover the costs, because we're bearing the costs for the event, right? To have the police officer there. Are we not? Currently, 'cause you're asking us to waive it. And in the past, this has always been at Riverdale, or where was it before again? I'm sorry if you mentioned that earlier.
Right after COVID, we started having it at the high school.
Right.
So I guess it was 2021 that we had it there. So 21 through 25.
Right. It was Memorial Park before that in River Edge, right?
It was on Continental and the library parking lot, the cultural center parking lot, and quite frankly, the lawn of the cultural center. It was so popular that there was no place to put all the cars, and we finally went to the high school, which could accommodate the number of cars that we had.
Right.
When we had the other events, when we had West Point, there was did not get a bill. When we had the other events at the high school, did not get a bill. We're doing something that if we didn't do it, there would not be anybody else that would be picking it up.
Was there a police presence at the other events? Oradell Police?
Oradell, yes. I communicated with the police when we had the events at the auditorium, and we had it when we had it outdoor in the football stands, the West Point. There was communication with the Oradell Police, yes.
Okay. And for the car shows that have been held at Riverdale since
2021.
2021, have the Oradell Police?
Yes.
Have they been present there since 2021?
Yes, they have.
And then
Now,
have you received a bill
No.
in the prior years?
No. And we had no reason to think that we would, after 25 years, that there would be a bill.
Okay. Well, it sounds like this is a little bigger than the car show. There are other events and extenuating factors, and I think the council needs to engage with the chief a little bit more for his feedback on this, and we'll digest this, and if we can waive this year's bill, that would be an action we would most likely take at our next meeting versus tonight. But I think it's fair to say we'll be back to you in short order to continue the conversation on how to work with you.
Okay. You might ask the chief as to why he may not have had a reserve officer as they had in years past.
Well, it depends upon availability.
I understand. Okay. So, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Good night.
Next on the agenda for discussion is the 2026 meeting dates.
So Mayor, every year, this is the meeting where we discuss this because we have to do a resolution in December approving the dates so that they can be published and put in the calendar. I always cross-reference with school calendars, holidays, election dates, and the league to make sure there's no conflicts. And first time in a while, they seem to just fall on the right dates for next year. So there weren't any need to change any to either Wednesdays or skip dates, etc. Usually the reorg and the sine die is still at this point of the year yet to be determined because I believe usually the mayor caucuses with incoming candidates to see what day works for them for swearing-ins. Statutorily, that has to happen within the first 7 calendar days of the year. I believe how it falls, if it was to be a weekend, it would be the 3rd or 4th. And if it was going to be a weeknight, it would be the night of Tuesday the 7th. So we could reach out and still have those conversations. But then the regular dates for January fall on the Tuesdays of the 13th and 27th. So I didn't know if anybody had any reason to discuss migrating from the dates presented to you, or if everyone's in agreement, then I can drop the resolution to be approved at the December meeting.
So the only question I have is, as we're finding now, and the circumstances are a little different because we have time-sensitive challenges before us, the months we have one meeting in can be a little challenging.
Right.
I get December because we have the Sinai die, which in essence counts as the second meeting at the end of the month prior to the reorg. But I think we need to think a little harder about November and whether or not we still try and get that second meeting in early in the week of, unfortunately, Thanksgiving as it may fall. And, what the council wants to do with the 2 summer months, July and August. If you feel we should have the second meeting or things are working because it's a slow time of year, I mean, it's up for discussion. But I think the majority of what you're suggesting works. I think we just need to think about those months where we're only saying we're going to have one meeting.
So sometimes in November, the reason for going to one meeting a month is because it falls within the league when the league is occurring.
Right.
The upcoming year, it does not. So you could add the second meeting that month. It would just be the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Just as a point of order, it's easier to cancel a meeting than trying to advertise one. So
Good point.
It might be easier just to put that second meeting for the November, and then to cancel me, you just do a posting rather than trying to get something into the paper.
I would
So,
suggest that.
Okay.
The reality is, if it's a half an hour meeting because there isn't anything, it's a half an hour meeting.
Right. So
So-
that date would be November
How do you-
25th.
How do you feel about the summer months as well? Leave those alone at a meeting a month because it's generally slow and availability is challenging with
Yes.
people.
I agree.
I'm the opposite. I think we should meet, or at least have it on the calendar.
And if
It's
we
the Tashian's point.
if we pass on it, we just cancel that public
Yes.
meeting.
It's easier, yeah.
So I could figure out those dates
Rather
as well.
than trying to jam things in.
Yeah, I'd rather block the dates on my calendar
Same here.
and then free it up if I can free it up.
So-
Because if we only book one for those months, there's a pretty good likelihood I'll book something and I'll never free something else up. So I'd rather block the dates and then cancel if we have to cancel.
Maybe we can do one out of the 2 summer months.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we have the dates on the calendar, I think that you don't have to do the 2 meetings unless you need to. But at least we know the plan is if we have to do it, that's when it's going to be.
Why don't we put it on the calendar and call it optional, but at least then they're holding the date.
I don't think you can. You just don't have to post it. You cancel it
Well,
prior to.
why don't we add the dates? But the policy really is going to be during the months of July and August and potentially November, given which year on the calendar it is, we may be only holding one of those 2 meetings in those months, dependent on the workload and availability. But at least the holding spot is on the calendar.
I prefer that, thank you.
John, is that all right?
You could also have almost as a discussion item at the first meeting of a projection of what a second meeting would look like between
Yeah.
Ed and I, as far as what that agenda is starting to shore up, and then you can make that decision usually at that meeting whether the second one would be canceled, something
Right.
to that effect as a check and balance.
All right. It sounds like we have consensus to do that, knowing we may have some drops in the summer months and
Okay.
potentially November. I think December, so December, you theoretically could end up with 3 meetings.
So December, how it looks is there's, I just want to make sure I'm on the right year. Hold on one sec. December of next year. So December of next year, there's 5 Tuesdays. So our regular meeting would be the 8th if you went back to the 2. So right now I picked the one in the middle, the 15th, as the one meeting date. If you wanted to switch back to 2, I would suggest it would be the 8th and the 22nd. Problem is a lot of people.
I mean, it's close to Christmas, but does anybody have objections with that? That meeting could always be dropped on the 22nd? Oh,
Hit that too.
just say it.
For some reason, Hanukkah starts the 6th, I think.
Oh, it's early? When does Hanukkah start next year?
Changes every year. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I would actually just have to double check for
Yeah, let's just verify that.
holidays in December.
We don't want a conflict there. Okay.
Okay, I'll
December
check.
4th through the 12th is Hanukkah and 26th.
Yeah, I knew it was early.
Okay.
You'll have a conflict there.
Your bigger issue is more of the jump from the November meeting to the December meeting. So if you add back in that potential of the second meeting of November on the date, it does close the gap of a bills list and whatnot. So I don't know if you want to just keep the one date for December to avoid a conflict.
Yeah. Well, why don't we let December be the exception to the two meeting rule, right? We'll just leave it on the 15th because there are no known conflicts at this time.
And you can always, I mean, as we get closer, if there is a need, you could always add one somewhere.
Okay. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is, I always do this with paper. Give me a second, let me find it. So what was on the dais tonight was that was forwarded to me that came out of the Municipal Managers Association. There is a bill in the Senate, number 4736, entitled Enhances Ability of Religious and Nonprofit Organizations to Convert Certain Property to Inclusionary Developments with Affordable Housing. It was introduced on October 27th in the Senate. I'm not going to bore you about reading this, but this is, furthering affordable housing reach and, in essence, usurping local zoning, whereby the state now is getting into the zoning business by allowing not-for-profits under this bill as introduced to develop their property aside from what municipal zoning requires. The League of Municipalities has taken a position that they oppose this bill. There are requests going around asking municipalities to pass a resolution opposing this bill. This is just another lead brick on top of the wheelbarrow of housing requirements we're being asked to deal with right now. Quite frankly, I'm not in favor of this. I wanted to discuss this tonight. We obviously don't have all the answers more than what's in front of us, but I wouldn't ask for action tonight. If the council wants to review this and we can provide feedback to the clerk between now and the next meeting, we could put a resolution on the December agenda to oppose the bill. We don't have to do it tonight. There is a template here. So if everybody wants to digest this and do your own research and follow up with Laura as to what your comments and questions may be, we could potentially act on this next month if that's what the council wants to do.
Sure, Mayor, I'm definitely publicly opposed to this bill, and I hope it does not pass in the state legislation. I'm very much in favor of moving forward to some sort of resolution, so I look forward to that.
Okay, thank you, John. Anyone else? Okay. Next on the agenda, does anybody have any old business to come before the council?
Mayor, just one point. Last meeting we spoke, and I was, I guess, incorrect in my fear about the Oradell Avenue Bridge that I didn't realize. I thought that bridge was going to be closed, but I did go to the website as our engineer instructed, and at least that whenever that happens, sometime in the future, will be open. So I was kind of petrified.
Yeah, they have a temporary traffic plan where they're going to maintain 2 lanes of travel at all times.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so that's the first thing. Yeah, so I got that. Thank you.
Anyone else for old business?
Yes, Mayor, I had introduced the IT consultant. I was unsuccessful just due to timing to get a scope of work to share with the council. So I will have that next meeting for the council's review prior to the meeting so we can hopefully get a resolution.
Okay. So we generally have the agenda meeting the Tuesday prior to the meeting.
Yep.
So that would be your deadline.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Ted. If there's no other new business, old business, do we have any new business to come before the council?
The only other piece I have was just Veterans Day yesterday, just to thank Mr. Schuber again, who did a wonderful program at St. Joseph's School and also our senior center yesterday. And again, to thank our veterans, it was just well done. And so just to thank him and the rest of the staff here that put that event together yesterday.
Thank you, Tom. If there's no other new business to come before the council, I'll entertain a motion to open for public comment on non-agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the floor is now open for the public on non-agenda items only. Each speaker shall have one turn and not exceed 5 minutes. Please identify yourself at the microphone and remain courteous.
Paul Latsunas, when will Viola be invited to the council meeting to explain to Oradell how it will eliminate the foreign chemicals from our drinking and health needs of water? That is 3 times over the federal limit. Not only is pure water needed for human consumption, but pure water is also needed for chip manufacturing and AI. Perhaps that will motivate the cleansing of the water. Now, OPTV is to be commended for its broadcasting of affordable housing discussions that educate us on the ways and means of the regulations of the state and court mandates that must be taken into consideration by our planning and zoning boards and finalized by our mayor and council, leading to public awareness so that good and serious questions and answers can take place at a future town hall meeting. Round 4 of the Fair Share housing is being rushed through and has been ill-advised as to how many units small towns such as Oradell has to plan for. It is important that the towns protect single-family homes and housing from being eliminated by the combining of lots. Developers want to buy up single housing and build so-called affordable houses for their profits, allowing 1 affordable unit for every 20 luxury units that subsidize the affordable unit developer for a win and can't lose. And additional services are needed and are paid for by the rest of the town's inhabitants. Finally, Beverly Road got about a dozen trees planted last week and brought smiles to our residents as to the beauty that has been created to our streets and single-family homes. Now, if we could get traffic to slow down to 25 miles per hour, restore the fallen lampposts, install a push-button red light, and install a Hoffman Field water fountain, and follow up on the remediation of 66 Kinderkamack Road lot, and establish businesses and proper density to a small lot that would not impede traffic on Argyle and not cast an umbra over the single-family homes, we can have a win for the Manor area. Republican and Democrats and independents, drop your biased thing and adjust to the needs of our residents. When you think of what is good for our town, we have needs and wants in our town, but we must be responsible to balance them and their costs. Financial responsibility is how much it's going to cost the residents in taxes. It's all about the money versus the quality of life. That's why we need to hear from people before we have and launch projects. And I thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Good evening, Ori Katzen. Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. I would like to open tonight by congratulating, I think for the third time this year, the administrator of the city of Larchmont, my son, Elon Katzin. This time is for the birth of his son, my second grandchild, a grandson. And I also like to commend him for probably telling his wife to hold it tight until a day before Veterans Day so he doesn't lose a work day. And he had a great time spending with his newborn baby and his daughter yesterday, and I spent the time with them yesterday. It was great. He's going to have his hands full, yet he is a dedicated public employee who is going to continue to work with her as much as he can. So I would like to commend him for that. Second thing, as President Obama once said, elections have consequences. Last week, we had the election, and I would like to congratulate David and Maggie for making it and will be here as of January. And for the leaving councilman and the retiring council president, all the best to you in your life, okay? I think that you still have a chance between now and January to cement your legacy. Like Paul said, it's not a Republican or Democrat, the running of the town, and do something to honor Sergeant David Salinas once and for all. Of course, I would like to promote my suggestion as the resolution for the honorary street signs, and I think it will be a nice thing if Council President will get some kind of a blueprints for ordinance that he can pass on next year if it's not happening this year. But I think it will be a good thing to do that. And if not, I'm sure, I know that for a fact, that both David and Maggie will be working with me and will be working to honor Sergeant David Salinas. So you still have a chance, the council still has a chance, and I really like to see this thing going on. Third thing that I'd like to, Paul was saying about the water. Based on recent survey and data that I got, and 2 weeks ago we had Halloween, and people from the town asked me if I'm doing again the sugary treats buybacks. I said, no, I think it's up to the parents to do it. The parents can tell their kids that they'll do a buyback, and I explained the importance of that. The data that I got is that half of U.S. adults are pre-diabetic. Half of U.S. adults are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. That is way worse than the water, because the water, obviously, over time, some people get to live longer and some may be affected by the quality of water. But sugar is going to kill everybody, if we consume it in the way that we are consuming it since the 70s in this country. So I think this is something that basically each family should educate their kids. Because for me, paying for the sugary drink, it's just like installing the Narcan boxes in town. You're basically giving kids extra life, just like in video game. You overdose, you go to the Narcan, and you inject yourself and you live again, just like in a video game. You have another life to do, to go through, and another chance. I think there was a bad decision on the council to allow the Narcan boxes without having any kind of education about opioids. But it's not late. You can still do that. Have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Sam Trips is 327 Maple Avenue. I just want to give an update on the Blowout Mansion that I observed over the weekend, that the whole first floor is now boarded up. I don't know if they're planning to board up the second floor, but it looks terrible. It looks like a neglected building, and you got to blame the property owner for that. And it's our centerpiece. I've said this before. People notice the Blowout Mansion. They know when they were in Oradell, when they see that building. So it's a black eye for all of us. Second, I missed the meeting about merging the boards. My opinion is that, well, fact is that in 2011 that was discussed, and with a lot of discussion, they backed off on it. And I believe you need two boards. You know, you have checks and balances. You have where you have the mayor appointing the planning board, and the council appointing the zoning board. So what happens is, and I'll use an example of sometimes people don't get on there. Then I don't think you need to be qualified, but you need to really care about the town. You know, you need to put the borough of Oradell first. And the example I'm using is that our last application for the Bank of America, that went before the zoning board first, and then the attorney realized he pushed it over to the planning board, which made it easier for an approval. It didn't have to be that big, you know, and I believe it was only one member of the planning board voted against it. Well, it could have been downsized. It's 38 apartments. It could have gone down 10 apartments. Instead, we have a very large building in the center of our town. So when you're having two boards, you got to wonder if we're going to have more approvals like that, you know, where people don't ask questions. I've watched the zoning board for years and years and years, and they go deep. Planning board doesn't go as deep. So, and also, if you're going to use the reasoning for that there hasn't been a planning board meeting for the past couple of months, I don't, because there are no applications, I don't think that's a good enough reason. You have many other discussions you could have in a planning board meeting, where you have committee reports, you have public comment, and signage, and then you're creating a record. When you don't have that meeting, a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be looking and say, well, what happened in September? You can have a gap. So having that meeting creates a record, and a historical one too. So my feeling is I would keep the boards. I know this is going to be a discussion further. Keep them separate. And I believe the question also was asked if any other towns have merged their boards and undid that. And the answer was not to by our attorney. I just want to comment that Rochelle Park did it back in 2011, and a year later they separated them again. I don't know the status now, but I don't think we should just look at the local circles of town. We have a big state here, you know, so you should look at other towns and see what their experiences are. That's basically all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with public comment on non-agenda items? Now I'll entertain a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And we'll entertain a motion to open for public comment on the consent agenda only.
So moved. Second.
Yeah.
We're talking about consent?
Consent, yes. So we have a motion.
Oh.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's now open for consent agenda items.
Mayor, I just want to flag 25-244 and 25-245.
So you want to pull those for separate discussion?
I would, and the reason is due to the audit I'd like to have happen.
Okay, so can we do that after the public comment before we
fine.
vote on it?
Yep, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, so Laura, just a question. Where is did you get that resolution from Serenian today?
I did, but I knew we were discussing it first in close, so I figured we would add it verbally onto the agenda.
Yeah, where is it? Do we have it?
I have a copy here. Do you need a copy? I think
All right,
there was one with your packet in there.
yeah, that should have been on here. Bear with me one second. So we only have one copy?
I can make more in there. if you
I
want.
would, while we're waiting for public comment.
It was circulated via email.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're just waiting for the clerk to come out. There is a draft of a resolution that authorizes the borough's Affordable Housing Council, Mr. Serenian, to negotiate with the owners of 445 Kinderkamak Road as part of the dispute resolution program. That is not listed on the consent agenda. That is an error. It should have been there. But we will read it so that the public has an opportunity to comment on it. I can't find a copy. She said it's here, so we'll have to wait a second. I apologize. I don't think that's it. No.
Thank you.
So bear with me. I want to read this so you hear it before you comment, because this is something you might want to comment on. So this would be Resolution 25-247. As the clerk stated, this was discussed in the closed session prior to this meeting with our council. And it entitles a resolution authorizing Special Affordable Housing Council to negotiate an agreement between the borough and 445 Kinderkamak LLC. Whereas the Borough of Oradell is engaged in ongoing efforts to comply with its constitutional and statutory obligations to provide for its fair share of affordable housing in accordance with the requirements established by the New Jersey Supreme Court and the Fair Share Housing Act, NJSA 52:27D-301, and whereas the borough has retained Serenian, Edwards, Buzek, and Nolan LLC as Special Affordable Housing Counsel to advise and represent the borough in all matters related to affordable housing compliance, and whereas the borough has been engaged in discussions concerning property located at or about 445 Kinderkamak Road, identified as Block 714, Lots 14 and 15, on the official tax map of the borough, which may be suitable for or otherwise related to the borough's affordable housing compliance plan. And whereas it is in the best interest of the borough to authorize the Special Affordable Housing Council to negotiate, on behalf of the borough, terms and conditions of an agreement between the borough and 445 Kinderkamak LLC regarding the subject property, subject to review and approval by the mayor and council. Whereas the borough wishes to see a proposed agreement rezoning the subject property to permit 25 units that it can consider. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Oradell, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey as follows. Authorization to negotiate. Jeffrey R. Serenian, Esquire, Affordable Housing Council for the Borough of Oradell is hereby authorized to negotiate an agreement between the Borough of Oradell and 445 Kinderkamak LLC concerning the property located at 445 Kinderkamak Road, Oradell, New Jersey, that would permit the construction of 25 units for our consideration. Number 2, the approval required. Any proposed agreement resulting from such negotiations shall be subject to the review and formal approval of the mayor and council prior to execution. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. So that is 25-247. Having read that, we have a motion second, and we've opened to the public for consent agenda items.
So moved.
Microphone's open.
Second.
We already did that. We're good. We've opened. Thank you.
Alderson, I'll start with this one that you just mentioned now, 247. I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but these properties are single-family homes, aren't they?
I'm going to defer to the borough attorney to answer the questions. He was in the closed session, and he needs to do that in order to maintain our legal strategy. I don't want to venture into uncharted territory here. I think it's fair to say they are.
They are, yeah. Yeah, that's public information.
Right.
Currently.
Okay, so I think we have to protect single-family homes in our town, because this is what I was talking about before my comments. And my comment was that developers would like to take up single-family homes, knock them down, and build these 25 units here and 25 units there, and then we lose our culture and the way our town is. I don't want to sell my house to anybody, okay, if they want to build a house there. And I don't know who owns those homes or anything. I'm not privileged to any information on this, so I really can't speak on that. But in general, I don't think that we should do that. And I think that Serenian can help us with that. And I don't know if the law says that they're going to allow single-family homes to be knocked down like eminent domain, and I don't think this is eminent domain. It's not a needed public thing. Okay, this is strictly for developers to make money. So I think that we should oppose this.
So this is under active litigation.
Yes.
And we're in mediation right now.
Yes. Well,
which means we have
give
to
you
act.
my opinion.
No, I understand, and I appreciate that. And people like you, me, and everybody else up here are never selling their homes to allow for this type of development. Yeah. Unfortunately, and I've said this all year long, I've even said this last year, I don't like how we're being made to require with this fair share housing law.
Sorry, I didn't hear it because of the cough.
I don't like how the borough or any town in New Jersey is being made to require with the fair share housing law. The process is disadvantageous to the municipality.
Yes.
The goal is a noble one, and it is one that is necessary. But the process in which we're being forced to do it by law disadvantages the municipality, in my opinion.
I would think it's unconstitutional to do that too.
Well, but this is in the courts, okay?
Maybe somebody
And
should.
Our attorney is in a mediation session. I could tell you in any mediation, there's what we want to do, and there's what the other side wants to do, and there's somewhere in the middle. So what this is authorizing him to do is try and find the best middle ground with the property owner, who, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, as the property owner has rights in this.
Yeah, if I may, because this whole thing is mandated, this mediation. We have
Right.
no choice. So we have to deal with a special adjudicator, a retired judge that's been assigned to this, and we are forced to go through this process. And there's only so much we can tell you publicly because mediation, the proceedings are by law confidential. But you mentioned a constitutional challenge. There is one pending. And Oradell joined in that lawsuit. But so far, it's not
we have to go
gone
along
well,
with the
and
law.
It's going to take a higher court to change that, which will probably take a few years.
Yeah, I think that we should be able to rule our own town as far as single-family homes and zoning, and what they're trying to do to me by allowing this, what the state is doing, is that they're trying to make mini cities out of little towns, and this is going to ruin the reason that we came here. A lot of people left the city to come here, and we're building so many units and everything. All these people from New York are going to be coming over here. A lot of people are going to be coming here, especially with the election that came over there, with the communists coming in and the socialists. So this has got to be. We have to fight on this. I have to keep fighting. Can't cave in on this. All right, and let me go on to what I was going to talk about in the first place. This is a very big thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Sam would like to speak too if he comes up here on this. I wanted to ask you about, where was it? All right, 25-243. This award.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh. This award to environmental renewal, is this a renewal of our contract with these people, or is this a separate new company?
It was rebid, and I believe that the same company that serviced us prior was the successful bidder in the rebid.
So it's the same company?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now let me go on to the other one. 25-245, digital shared services, and it wasn't possible to have shared services with anybody else or any other town in order to do this, or are we doing it?
So you heard Councilman Gullo say he wanted to pull these for separate discussion around a technology analysis.
Okay.
I had some basic discussions with officials at the county clerk's office who does document imaging, and in the short term, I was not able to find the ability for us to participate in a shared service. That's not to say that we couldn't work on one longer term, but I think there's a need to get our records in shape, and we need to start somewhere. This is not a solve-all, end-all, but I believe this is trying to take a bite of the apple at a time. So discussions will continue about where we can economize, but these really rely around software systems that house the documents for us and the equipment we need to scan them, and in some cases, the scanning of the documents.
Is it absolutely necessary that we start this right away? Can we wait so that we can see if we can find somebody else, maybe save some money? From what I understand, it says $703 a month for 12 months. That's $8,436 for the year. And over 60 months, it's $42,180. And just how much work are they going to do in a month? I mean, are they going to? How many hours are they going to be working a day? I mean, if they're getting paid $703 a month, is that 1 week's wages?
I think it's a combination of things. It's not just wages for an employee. There's technology fees, there's subscription fees, and things. But I honestly have to defer to Councilman Gullo's request to pull those items for discussion because they relate to technology.
Okay, that's a very good, Mr. Gullo. Thank you for pulling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Ori Katzin. I just looked at the map and I noticed that property we're talking about on 247, that's right between the Walter Briers and the insurance agency, which both are commercial, zoning partially commercial, even though it looks like a residential home. So, like Paul said, what prevents these two from combining their property, the insurance agency and Walter Briers, into one big lot and build another mega units like River Edge did right along Kinderkamak on a fairly small property. They just built it 6 stories high. And before we know it, we're going to turn into a mini city like Paul said. So definitely I think that our attorney should negotiate, and he needs to be first fierce and resolute and object. This is not something that the town needs, and I think you may want to also have a special meeting and let town people come in. Maybe it's during the planning board or the zoning board meeting, but let's hear what other people from the town have to say about this, so the attorney can take it with him and come to this negotiation prepared, and the town behind him. Most town people that object to that will be behind him. 25-240, retirement of Sergeant Michael Bartlett. Is he retiring after serving here 20 years? Or
Yes.
20 years? Oh. I don't see, unlike the...
23 years, Ori.
Oh, 23 years. Wow. That's great. I don't see at the end of the acceptance of resignation, like the prior, like 238 and 239, that you advertise. So the town is not going to advertise, not going to have a vacancy for another police officer?
We're actually going through the process of promotional interviews and new officer interviews. It's been a rolling basis. As we've been behind the entire year, we haven't been able to keep up with the retirements. So that is an ongoing process that is happening right now. There's been a posting all year.
Oh, so it's not require a resolution to open for...
No, the council authorized to advertise and interview for police officers earlier this year. That's been an ongoing process.
Okay, just want to make sure that we gonna keep the force here and not... Okay, so that's good, and I definitely for awarding him with his firearm that he had during his service, just like we did with Captain Egg. About the Environmental Renewal LLC, is that for year-round up until October collection of the yard waste, or is that also street cleaning during the fall?
This is for, John, correct me if I'm wrong, the removal of the leaf collection that is stored temporarily at the DPW once it's removed from the street. This is the company that then transports that vegetative waste from the DPW to the recycling facility.
Okay, so they're not the one collecting, the one collecting
Our
in town.
DPW does that.
Oh, okay, the DPW does that. The council just keep in mind that when they picking it up, it's gold for them. They reselling it, and we all buying it later on at Home Depot or Lowe's as a mulch or as a lawn soil or topsoil. You open these bags, and all the yard waste that we dump in buckets are all there, and we paying it back. So once we pay to pick it up, and then we pay to buy it and put it back in our yard. Just keep that in mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else for consent agenda items only? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have correspondence. Laura, can you please read the correspondence into the record?
Yes, we received a letter we were CC'd on correspondence that residents from Soldier Hill Road sent to the county, specifically the county executive regarding speeding and other traffic situations on Soldier Hill Road.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the adoption of minutes. We have the meetings of September 30th, 2025, October 14th, 2025, and October 28th, 2025. Would anybody like any one of those meetings pulled for a separate vote? And or does anybody have any corrections or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnival?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes,
Mr.
with the
Kern?
exception of the
Yeah.
28th.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yeah, just with those
I have-
corrections for September 30th.
Got it. And Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Ted, you have already identified you'd like 244 and 245 pulled for discussion. Does any other member of the council have any issues or require to pull a resolution for discussion and or separate vote?
Can you pull 247 for separate vote, please?
Yep. Anything else? Okay, Ted, you want to talk about 244 and 245?
Yeah, obviously we're trying to make a decision whether it's requirements in terms of digitization, storage of records. as I mentioned at the last meeting, I wanted to have a consultant come in and interview the departments within the borough in terms of their services, any technology from an infrastructure standpoint, but also what we need to do from a statutorial standpoint. And so I was remiss and I ran out of time to get that proposal. I wanted to share it with the council for tonight, but with these two resolutions, I don't want to make this commitment until we have the full, kind of process go through and evaluate what each department needs. So that's really what I'd like to do in pulling these two resolutions, 244 and 245.
So you don't want to pull them for separate vote, you want to
Pull them for, for now. Table discussion. Correct.
Ted, how long do you think that process with your consultant is going to take for the analysis to be completed and something before the council where this could advance?
So if everything goes as planned, we do a resolution for December. I'd like for the consulting firm to start January, 30 days with results back hopefully by February. So basically 60 days, Mayor.
So you would envision that your request to table these, that they could be acted upon potentially in the February meeting?
Correct.
Any further discussion on that?
I had the same reaction when I saw that, right? It's sort of putting the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, I'm sorry, right? If we discussed that last meeting, that it does make sense to do that analysis, and then we know where we are. So certainly before we go ahead with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is important, these two resolutions, but let's get a full roadmap. Let's get a full picture on what our obligation is from a financial standpoint. We also need to prioritize. There's a lot of things from an IT perspective in the borough that needs to be addressed. Some more obviously pertinent than others. They're all important. It's just we have to prioritize, and we need to put together a roadmap, because I feel like we have onesies and twosies that come from various departments, and no one has sight of line in terms of different departments, and in some cases there's redundancies, and that's a cost.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the consultant, that's his or her job, is to potentially, they may have another vendor, right? Or different vendor that
Different
maybe
process.
we have one vendor that can do it all, whatever that may be, right? That's their job, so it makes sense to do that.
So, Ted, I would ask two things. One, that the consultant's analysis and report back to the governing body include, budgetary costs to accompany their recommendations, as we'll be in the process of formulating a budget for 2026. I think the technology stuff has gone up over time. It's been like a hot potato. We're going to do it. We're not going to do it. I think what you're suggesting puts us in a position to actually act. I'd like us to actually do that. Once we get the report, we have budget figures. We can put that as part of our budget, whether it's operating costs for subscriptions or maintenance, or capital costs for equipment. But I'd like to be able to enable and empower some of these departments to take advantage of what technology can offer them in 2026. I think that'd be a great thing for us to accomplish.
Okay.
Any further comments on 244, 245, or we will? Do we have a second to table Mr. Gullo's motion to table these resolutions?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
No.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Before I call for a motion on resolution 237 through 243 and 246, does anybody have anything further they want to discuss about any of those? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to approve resolutions 25-237 through 25-243 and 25-246.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
One comment, though. Just like to thank the resignations and the retirement for their time and service to the town. It's always appreciated when people work and, do their time.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Lastly, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 25-247 to authorize Mr. Serenian to negotiate on behalf of the borough.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Stab?
Abstain.
Mr. Tastian?
Abstain.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My report, I'm going to spare you with my report. I do want to acknowledge and thank profusely our veterans who served our country. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the lunch yesterday, but I heard that it went very well. I want to thank Tom and the staff and Pat Schuber and the council people who were able to show for paying the tribute that they did to our veterans and acknowledging their service. I also want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving as it comes up. My docket continues to be flooded with trying to navigate our affordable housing requirements. I'll say again, this is not a process we've chosen, but it's one that we're required, mandated to participate in. So there is a bunch of strategy here. I know we may come with one-off things that seem like we're conceding, and you have to trust in the fact that there's a much bigger picture here that we're trying to strategize for the borough to be best positioned as it relates to accommodating the mandate before us. This can affect towns in very drastic ways. I think in the end, while I'd rather not deal with this, I think we're working towards something that may not have such a drastic impact to Oradell as we know it and we cherish. But there'll be more about that, and there will be times when we can share more about where we're at in this process. But while we're going through the mediation program, it's very tough to do that because we have to preserve our confidentiality and what we've agreed to in those negotiations. But just know, nobody is sitting up here looking to give away the store. Nobody wants, this to be the next, the sixth borough of New York City, right? We all choose. I've chosen to live here for 50 years for a reason. Steve's been here, lifelong legacy guy. Everybody's chosen to come to Oradell because of what it is, right? So we don't want to change that. But when our hands forced, we have to negotiate the best we can to preserve the town the best way we can. So just keep that in mind as we continue with these discussions. The council is working very hard to make sure that Oradell's impact by our mandate is manageable and the least impactful to the town that we're able to make it. And if somehow there's a miracle with a higher court determining that something's not right, then so be it. But that's part of our strategy where I've said we're going to participate in that. But while we're doing it, we have to work towards complying with the law. Otherwise, it's free game. What everybody doesn't want is going to happen. And as much as everybody can get up and say, you need to fight, you need to fight, you need to fight, nobody loves a fight better than me. But I have to tell you, you have to be able to determine, am I going to win this fight? Which is going to really set the strategy for how we fight, right? Sometimes you take a step back in order to take a leap forward. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this. I wish this were a lot simpler. I wish we could sit here and tell you everything that's been going on. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that. We will at some point, but hang with us. We're all very attuned to where we're at, and people are putting a tremendous amount of time into this, including our professionals. I think on that, I'm going to turn it over to Council President Carnaval for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. We are adopting an ordinance this evening. So ordinance number 25-10 is ready for final reading.
Will the Borough Clerk read ordinance 25-10 by title only?
An ordinance of the Borough of Oradell amending the borough's code, specifically Chapter 240-16.1, Article 16, soil moving.
Has ordinance number 25-10 been published in full, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the general public?
Yes.
Is there any member of the general public who wishes to be heard concerning this ordinance? Seeing none, is there any member of the council who wishes to discuss this ordinance further?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 25-10 be passed on final reading and published in the Bergen Record on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnaval?
Yes.
Mr. Staff?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gullo?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
And then very quickly, Mayor, the Administration Committee met on November 5th, where we met with Gene Martin to discuss the management and administration of the grant the borough received to study ways we can better support our senior residents. We also received updates on various personnel-related items, the update on the employee handbook, and the table of organization project. The Planning Board did not meet this month because there were no applications to hear and no other business to discuss. The next meeting of the board is scheduled for Tuesday, December 2nd at 7:30 p.m. The Zoning Board is scheduled to meet next Monday at 7:30 p.m., and I will provide a report on that meeting at our December meeting. And I believe the next meeting of the Historical Committee is scheduled for Monday, November 24th, and once again, I'll provide a report at our December meeting. And that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Public Safety, Emergency Management, Board of Health, Councilman Staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Also wanted just to extend a thank you to the veterans for your service. I'd also like to congratulate Sergeant Michael Bartlett on his retirement from the Oradell Police Department. Sergeant Bartlett joined the department in 2002 and for 23 years served our borough with distinction and dedication. You'll certainly be missed, but I have no doubt that the big ocean in front of you holds a record catch for you. Congratulations and best of luck in your retirement, Sergeant Bartlett. The Public Safety Committee also met yesterday with candidates for the rank of sergeant. We expect to make our selection later this week. We also met earlier this month and identified 2 new candidates for the Police Academy. They will be receiving conditional offers. As a reminder, please be mindful of your speed around town. The department will be conducting focused enforcements on speeding, crosswalks, and stop sign compliance. Also, please remember to put your phones down when driving and remain alert for pedestrian and cyclists. Lastly, I would like to congratulate Dave Banfield and Maggie Harrer on their election victory. Both are solid, honest, and hardworking individuals, as well as longtime residents of Oradell. The borough is very lucky to have these 2 individuals joining council. And this concludes my report, Mayor, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Councilman Staff. Councilman Tashian, Library, OPTV, Economic Development.
I have nothing to report as the library is currently meeting as we speak, and wish all the residents a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Roger. Councilman Kern, DPW and Boards of Education.
Mayor, I also have nothing to report since we DPW committee hasn't met yet this month. But again, I do wish to wish the residents a happy Thanksgiving for the start of this holiday season.
Thank you very much. Fire, Technology, Communications, and Rec, Councilman Gullo.
Going for the trifecta, Mayor. I have no report.
It's
Happy
outstanding.
Thanksgiving to all residents.
Thank you very much. Councilman Kelly, it seems your colleagues have yielded all their time to you.
No, that doesn't mean we yield time. No. No. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Tom.
Finance, yes, I have been in pretty steady contact with the team there, and it's, as I mentioned in the past, budget packets, I guess, have gone out to department heads, so they're working on that, and they'll submit them, I guess, sometime early December to start the 2026 budget process. And our CFO and the team are very much on top of year-end issues in terms of making sure that we stay on budget, and if there's any need for any year-end transfers, et cetera, with various departments to make sure that those numbers are where they need to be. And again, taxes, we're now right past the date where some fees may incur, so we did have a few residents late, so again, that's an encouragement to make sure that your fourth quarter taxes come in. Environmental continues to be kind of busy with all of those things I've mentioned in the past. Corn stalks are slated to come down the 29th of November, so if that's always a day that we can use help with that, bringing them down, and the bows, et cetera, et cetera. It's just great to see the plastic bag collection and the bench program is really in full swing. Then we have our seniors, and we also have the Friendship House, which is our new tenant down the street. That those folks are getting involved, and they've recently collected 1,000 pounds of plastic bags, which equates to a brand new bench. So that program is just wonderful, and hopefully we can use those benches in some of our updated parks and trails that we're going to have coming up soon. Grants are ongoing also. The home energy efficiency grant, that continues to go, and we also received a grant for recycling. PSAs, a number of the team did go down to a recycling plant down in Lower Bergen County. Unfortunately, I missed that day, but a bunch of them went down there to see exactly how that works. Seniors, very active group. Again, just to go with some of the dates, well, maybe I'll spare you, but we have connected with the high school, the drama club on the 17th of next week. They're doing a program or showing this year's play to our seniors, and then December 18th, the holiday concert. They're invited there, and the theater, et cetera, and so we do, as we know. I think I'm confident that we have a robust plan of activities. The big activity is December 6th up to West Point to see that, a big bus, which we've been waiting for to see, I guess, the band up there, all for free. I think we have 20 slots open. You need to call Borough Hall to get one of those slots available. So yes, to my point, I think we have a robust calendar of activities. I do want to follow up, and maybe for next year, and if it's working together with our Board of Health, really on the other side of the equation from activities is our most vulnerable seniors that are in distress. And maybe, as Council President Carnival mentioned, Gene Martin can find out who those folks are, and if it's working with the Board of Health, I'm happy to sit down with them to put some resources there to help those folks and reach out to them, and again, potentially engaging with some type of nurse that'll step out and upgrade what we currently have, the services that we get from the county. So I'd like to continue to focus on that going forward to next year. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Kelly. Borough Administrator's report.
So no report tonight, sir.
We have a report from the Borough Attorney.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Atkinson.
I'll be quick and short. So we've been working on the flood damage prevention ordinance. I know we sent a draft to the borough. That's also been submitted to the DEP. We've received their comments, very minor comments back, but they do want to see the final draft, so that has been sent to them. So we anticipate having that within the week's time, and then the borough can look to adopt that ordinance under first reading at the next meeting. So what I have to update on.
Dave, where are we at with the mapping? That's isn't that required by the end of the year?
Yeah, so we'll have everything submitted for that as well. The final stuff will be after that date, but everything will be submitted to be fully compliant with the state's requirements on that for January 1st.
Great.
And I'm sorry, we're allowed to adopt it on the first reading, or introduce it and then
We can introduce, you can do the first reading. It'll be your next meeting in December.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll get the official approval. It was a real minor revision that they wanted to the last thing. So
Great. Thank you.
yeah.
Dave,
Thank
can I
you.
ask a question? Do we have any updates on the concrete?
Sure, good question. So we had a meeting with the contractor. They did some testing on the concrete just to see if there was an issue with the mix that they got from the plant. Based on the analysis that they came back with, from what we discussed with them, he was trying to push it off that it was salt damage that caused the issues there. Everything that I saw had nothing to do with the salt. Did the salt further damage the issue there? Yes. So they've agreed to replace it. Given the time of the year, they would like to wait till the springtime so that it's done with. They're not having any other issues through the winter months. So I don't have a date yet for that, but they have committed to addressing the problem on their cost.
That's great news. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you staying with that.
Yep.
Dave, one more comment I mentioned to the mayor. if the grants that we got for the Lotus Memorial and Deepak Trails, and I got a couple of calls about the tree work, and the mayor did mention that it was just maintenance over there. There was some fear from some residents. I guess there was some trimming over there that's not part of a bigger plan to cut trees or those types of things. So if we can,
correct.
Yeah,
So
that's totally separate. That was.
And I know I had
We did also.
I got a message from Mr. Hines from one of the residents, so I did talk to them earlier this week. They had some questions or concerns, particularly over at DPAC, if there was any work going on. They saw some of the flags that were put on the trees to delineate the wetlands. So I had called them back, spoke to them, assured them that there's no improvements that are being done within the wooded areas. Essentially, we're just doing a pathways, particularly at DPAC, around the field area itself. So there's no improvements being taking place in the middle of the woods there.
Yeah, just coincidentally that I guess our guys were doing some trimming of the trees, so that's where the fear came from, but totally separate.
It has nothing to do with those projects.
Totally separate. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing further to come before the council. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.